everybody. We are in another video. We're in statistical analysis, and specifically we're looking at the topic bivariate data analysis, or MS4. And in this video we're going to be looking at Pearson's correlation coefficient. And Pearson's correlation coefficient is just equal to R. So R is the symbol for the correlation coefficient. Now R can have different values. It can have positive values, it can have no values, or it can have a negative value. A positive value, if you remember, is when our linear association is traveling in this direction, and our negative is when our linear association is traveling in the opposite direction. And so if you have a scatter plot and they ask if R is positive or negative, you can tell just by looking at it. And so you can tell that that direction is positive and the other direction is negative. Or you can have a look and you can remember these three facts here. The positive correlation is when the two variables either both increase together or both decrease together. 0 or naught for your correlation is when there's no association between quantities. So it would look just with, it would look like this, just with values scattered all over the place. They do not make a straight line. So that would be no association. And a negative correlation, or a negative value for R, is when as one quantity increases, the other one decreases. So negative, they go opposite, one increases, one decreases, and positive, they go together. They both increase or they both decrease. Let's have a look at the next slide. So here are some examples for what the correlation could look like. We'll go through each of them. So the first one here is when R equals to naught. So that means there's no strength between them. There's no relationship between the two variables. They are just scattered throughout the scatter plot wherever. The next one here is when it's a strong, pretty much a perfect correlation. R is equaling to positive 1. So we know it's positive because it's traveling in this direction. And as one increases, the other increases. So as we're increasing along the x-axis, we're also increasing along the y-axis. So that's a positive linear association where R is positive 1. When R equals to negative 1, it again is a strong correlation, but it's negative and it travels in the other direction. So as x is decreasing, y is increasing. So it's negative. They do the opposite. These two, they both increase together, and this one, they do the opposite. So let's have a look down here. We have a weak positive linear association. So we can see that it still makes a line. The points on the scatter plot are still in the direction of a line. They're not scattered throughout randomly, but they are spread out. So they're not clumped together. If they were clumped together, that would be a strong association, but because they're spread out in the line they're making, that it's closer to naught. So if R is close to naught, then it is weak. And if R is close to 1, it is strong. So we're getting stronger as we go along because we can see that they're getting, the points are getting closer together to make one perfect line. In this one, they are going in a line, so it's still a linear association, but they're a little bit closer together than the first one. And so it's a R equals to positive 0.5. So it's not perfect, it's not too strong, it's just moderate. And in the third one, They are almost on a straight line. A couple of the points are still out of the line, so it's not perfect, but it is definitely strong. So it has a value of 0.9. So when we're finding R, there's steps that we can go through on the calculator. So if you have your calculator, get it out. We are going to put these values, the X and Y, where X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, and where Y equals 5, 6, 7, 8, into our calculator. So we're going to do the red steps first, and then we will do the yellow, and then we'll do the green. So first, let's do the red steps. So we press mode setup, which is the big one there. Then you press 2 to go into start mode, and then you press 2 again, and it will be the A plus B one. A plus BX, click that, and it should come up with 2 columns like that, an X and a Y column, and you put the values for X and Y in there. So in the X column, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in the Y column, I'm going to put 5, 6, 7, and 8. Once I do that, I press AC, and you should have a little naught come up in the corner. And that means that you have entered values, and any answers or any calculations you do on your calculator will be based on those values that you put in. So to find R specifically, you press Shift 1, try and do it in like 1 second apart. So Shift 1, like do it straight away. Then you press 5 to go into reg. Then you press 3, and if you have a look at 3, there's the R symbol. So that's the one you want. You want the R. Once you press 3, press equal, and then R will come up, and it will equal 1. And so for these values, our association is perfect. We have a correlation coefficient where R equals 1. And it's a positive correlation. As our X is increasing, our Y is also increasing. Now, once you've found R, you have to do the green step. You have to clear your memory. If you don't clear your memory, any calculations you make afterwards will still be based in statistical mode or based on the values that you put in. So you need to clear your memory to make sure that your answers will be correct. So to clear your memory, you press Shift 9. You do that in one go, and then you press 2. You press 3 for all, and then you press equals, and then you press AC. And then it will come back to a blank calculator screen, and you can go ahead and do any calculations you want. So let's have a look at the next slide. It will be another example of the correlation coefficient. So for a group of girls, the humerus length, which is your elbow to your shoulder, that's the humerus bone, was measured and compared with your height. The results are listed in this table. Find R for A. Determine whether it is positive or negative correlation for B, and C, determine whether it's strong, moderate, or weak. So let's go ahead, and we're going to follow these steps. So hopefully you remember them, otherwise I'll go through them too. So firstly, we need to go into mode setup. Then you need to go into 2, and 2 again. And you'll get a column with X and Y. And you put in these values. So in the X column, we're going to put 37. 37 equals, 35 equals, 40, 31, 35, 33, 31, 40, 34, and 39. And then in the Y column, we're going to put the values that correspond with it. So where we have 37 in the X column, we're going to put 176 in the Y column. 176, and then 174, and then 184, 172, 173, 178, 171, 189, 180, and then 188. Once you put all your values in, you press the orange AC button, and it should come up with a 0 in the bottom corner. Once you've done that, you press Shift 1, and it will come up with a series of numbers. You want to press Reg, which is 5. Then it'll come up with another numbers, and you want to get the R, which, if you can see there, is 3. So you press 3, and it'll come up with R at the top, and you press equals. When you press equals, you will get a number. So we got 0.83. So that is going to be our R. R is going to equal 0.83627. So I just rounded up there. Once you do that, you can clear your calculator by pressing Shift 9, 3 equals AC. And it will go back to a blank screen where you can put in any calculations. So that's how you do question A. Let's have a look at question B. Determine whether it is a positive or negative correlation. Well, 0.8, there's no negative sign out the front, so it's definitely a positive. And we can also have a look and determine whether it's positive by looking at our values here. As we're increasing from 37 to 39, we're also increasing on our y-axis from 176 to 188. So if they both increase together, that's positive, whereas if one increases and one decreases, that's negative. Determine whether it is strong, moderate, or weak correlation. We have a correlation of 0.8, so that is on the strong side. Strong is anything close to 1. So 0.9, for example, would be strong. 0.5, which is halfway, would be moderate. And anything close to 0, such as 0.2 or 0.3, would be weak. And that's how you do Pearson's correlation coefficient.